Yeah, or whatever. I think they're just trying to keep you guys apart. Okay, we'll wait a couple of minutes. Yeah, that was crazy. We could do it twice a week, but like we don't use it enough, to do twice a week. I have a cooking class, okay, so I'll be back in half an hour. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna show. I scheduled you all week, so we'll help you out too, okay? Whatever you need. So
yeah, I should be good, but I'll figure it out.
Okay. Welcome. I have so I went ahead and did pot roast, way earlier this morning. Otherwise you guys would be chewing for a while. Potatoes here ready. Ready, sir? Yeah.
Welcome, everybody. Doug Anderson, Food and Beverage Manager here at Seven Summits Lodge with Chef Dino Cruz.
Welcome,
and we finally have guests today. This is really exciting. We have Kevin and Ginger Shields, Mary DeShane, and Joanne Brown with us today. They're going to watch Dino prepare pot roast and get a good lunch out of it as well. So, as usual, if you have questions, type them in the box, and we have the recipe posted online as well. So, enjoy yourselves and turn the floor over to Dino.
Welcome, everyone. We're having a pot roast today. So pretty classic. For the members that I have that are here, I went ahead and cooked off a pot roast for them earlier this morning. That way it had ample time to cook in the oven. It takes about 3 hours, 2.5 to 3 hours, depending how big it is. But if it's close to 2 pounds, you're looking at about 3 hours. Well, first, let's get started with our preparation. So we have our mise en place. We have, if you guys have the recipes handy there, we do have our celery, carrots, onion, thyme, and I added a little rosemary in there. We have red wine, beef stock, whole peppercorns, oil, bay leaves, some whole garlic, and tomato paste. And then also we have a few tools that we're going to need. Tongs, whisk, ladle for the gravy, spatula, just in case. Okay, first things first, we're going to sear the protein, hot pan. So we have our pan on medium-high here. So this is about, I'd say this is about 2 pounds, okay, of chuck roast, beef chuck roast.
Is there only one kind of beef chuck? There are grades.
Sometimes they'll say like top chuck or like there's like different versions, but honestly, it's all the same. You just gotta look and visually see how much fat you want on there, because obviously the chuck has a lot of fat. So yeah, so in this situation, is actually you have that little fat going on right in there. So we're gonna sear that in there. Then we're gonna add a little bit of the oil. Just enough to brown it with, because there's a lot of fat in there, so we don't really need to drown it in oil. Salt, kosher salt. And then we do have whole black peppercorns that we're gonna use. We can also do black pepper on this. In fact, let me grab one real quick. I forgot that part. All right, how could I have forgotten the essential fresh black pepper grinder? I don't know. Well, we got that going on. Let's shut this door. Okay. So we're just gonna sear it all the way around. While we're waiting on that, we're gonna chop up our mirepoix. Mirepoix is our carrot, celery, onion. It's usually 2 parts onion, 1 part carrot, 1 part celery, but you just kind of just eyeball it. It doesn't necessarily have to be that ratio. I usually do 1, 1, 1. I still use a lot of carrots and a lot of celery. We have our carrots. Now, I've been told sometimes people, the trend is now to not peel your carrots, and I think that's totally fine if that's the route you want to go, as long as you just wash it well. But I still peel mine just out of habit. Well, I love pot roast, but I think the best part's the gravy. So we get to make a really awesome gravy with the liquid that we braised our beef in. And then I'm gonna cut off probably the end there. Probably just half-inch dice. Nothing too crazy. Now, it might be a little bit more than the recipe says, but it's only going to add flavor to our gravy, and it's only going to make it better. Use all that carrot. Okay, so we're developing a nice brown on here. I also have our butter melting. I forgot to mention butter and flour, which is the roux that we're going to use to thicken our gravy with. You can also use cornstarch if you'd like to make it gluten-free, because really the dish is gluten-free. If we thicken the gravy with cornstarch. The thing with the roux, if you put roux in gravy, you're gonna have to let it maintain like above 165 degrees to cook the flour out. Otherwise you can kind of taste a little bit of that flour in there. But we're gonna do our best to kind of really to get that going for you guys. That way you guys aren't like, oh, it tastes like flour. But it does take about an hour to cook the flour taste out of there. So with cornstarch, it's ready to go immediately. For the roux, yeah, 45 minutes to an hour. So we're getting a really nice brown on there. So that side, I'm gonna go ahead and season that side because we didn't really hit that side up. We just laid it down in there. Okay. And then for our members that are here, I just did a little roasted potatoes with our delicious pot roast. At this point, I can actually add a little bit of the veggies, just to kind of get the veggies going here. So we're gonna add a little bit of our veggies. Season up our veggies as well, like always. And then we have our garlic. I'm going to go ahead and just crush the garlic. Sometimes I like to just crush the garlic. All right. Ooh, you guys are hungry? We have halibut on special this week, just so you guys know. Got some halibut in. We're doing a grilled peach salsa with one, and then the other one just a purest lemon pepper. Oh, pistachio crusted as well on the pistachio crusted pan-seared with the grilled peach compote. And then we have the American Kobe sirloin that we had on the menu. We have that for a special as well. That's an 8-ounce baseball cut of Wagyu beef. It's the American. Well, price point it's a huge difference. You're paying, let's say it's a Japanese Kobe prime rib. It'd be probably in the upwards of $60 to $70 a pound. American Kobe, then you're probably looking at $40 a pound. So really, I would say so. Yeah, I would say so. I've had both. I've only had Japanese Kobe twice. And to be honest with you, I mean, I think it's just as good as American Kobe, but I mean, obviously there's purists out there that'll say it's not. But I mean, if you have the money to spend, go ahead and get the Japanese Kobe. I mean. All right, so we're getting a nice brown on there. You can see that on the camera. Get the sides as well. Probably this side first. So again, this size is gonna take a good 2.5 hours, I'd say, at 400 degrees. We're gonna add the rest of our veggies. And our garlic that's been crushed. Again, we're gonna add just a little bit more salt and pepper. We're just sprinkling a little bit in there. It's not like we're spooning it on there, so. It's just that every time you introduce new product into it, then obviously you need to season it. It's drying up a little bit, it looks like, so I'm gonna add just a little bit more of that oil that we have on reserve here. Just a couple drops there. Oops, flying onion. Now you can do this with a lot of different cuts of beef. You know, it doesn't have to be pot roast. You can do it with prime rib the same way. But then you can use the beef stock and the tomato paste. You know, have the prime rib out on its own, and then make the gravy out of the liquid, the red wine and the stock and the mirepoix. So this is a classical French method here, just braising, you know, searing the protein, and then throwing it in the oven and braising it. Classical French method, yeah. I mean, this is how you would make beef bourguignon, for example. You know, you would have diced up beef in there, right? The only thing that I wouldn't put in beef bourguignon is probably the celery. I don't think it gets celery. And then you would put pearl onions in there and mushrooms. And it's the same method. Tomato paste, red wine, you know, bay leaves. You can do it with roasted chicken. Same exact way. As long as you're browning the protein in the pan. So if you have the chicken, maybe you can have it and then sear it in the pan. And then use that same pan to cook all your mirepoix to make the sauce for it. And then whatever drippings you get from the chicken, you know, drain it or put it into the sauce that you're making. Yeah. Like after it's cooked, I add it to it for more flavor. Also, if you're using chicken, you can use chicken stock instead of beef stock. But this way of cooking is pretty traditional. You know, you can cook a lot of things by searing it and then throwing it in the oven. It's really just that browning that's really important. You know, you don't brown it, then it's just kind of like boiled beef, or you know.
What kind of beef stock do you use?
We use au jus. We're using au jus stock.
No bone broth today?
No bone broth today. So we got a pretty nice sear going on here, just to kind of show you guys. And then our roux, so we're just melting our butter here. I believe the recipe we did was 2 tablespoons of butter and 4 tablespoons of flour. It's usually about 2 to 1, I think. We'll see. I'll show you guys and kind of get a texture of it. It's going to be like Play-Doh, kind of like Play-Doh texture. Okay, for our roux, while we're searing our veggies. So this bowl's gonna be a little warm just because I melted it on there. We're gonna add our flour. So I'm probably not gonna need all this roux, but we use it in the kitchen for other things. No, this is the blonde roux, yeah. A blonde roux, so it's like a white roux. You don't cook the. No. Yeah, so that's it. I remember actually sometimes you make roux candy, you know, yeah, a little sugar to it, and then it's roux candy. But so that's kind of what you're looking for. You can go a little bit more crumbly if you'd like. I do prefer it like this. I've seen it where it's almost like sand-like texture. That's fine too, but
Is that regular flour you're using?
yeah, just all-purpose flour. So that's it. We got our roux. We're probably going to use a third of that.
I cannot do the laundry like you do.
Yeah, for Cajun food and other things like that, you definitely want to. You just heat up, you brown the butter, and then you add the flour in there. Sorry, Kevin. No, I mean, I did. So I just have a baking pan. You guys can use a glass one, but keep in mind if it's glass, I don't think you can go over 400 or 425, which we're not going to anyway. But just a heads up, I'm transferring it to a pan that we're going to throw in the oven. And we have a really beautiful brown starting to happen here. So we're just gonna wait till it's really nice and caramelized in there. And okay, and then for our roux or for our gravy, the only thing with gravy, it's gonna scorch unless you're standing there and really like whisking it the whole time and paying attention to it every minute or two. So our little trick is we're going to do a double boiler where we have water in one on the bottom of this one, and then we just put that on top, crank it up on high. We have our strainer. So that's it for that. Okay. I am actually going to go ahead and start the roux. So we have, and just like magic, all of a sudden, we have pot roast that's ready. Okay. So our finished product. So you guys can cook, throw it in the oven where you brown the beef in. That's fine too. So that's our finished product. Yeah. So we'll do the whole process all the way here. And then I'm going to add, at this point, I'm going to add most of the remaining ingredients that we have. And our herbs, where the herbs go. Okay. So the only thing remaining are liquids and tomato paste. Oops. So really nice caramelization going on there. That's exactly what we're looking for. The bottom of that pan is nice and brown. There's a spatula right there. Just want to show you guys on the camera there. As you can see, we're developing a nice caramelization on the pan there, and that's exactly what we want. We just don't want it to burn. Okay. Oh yeah, you guys. Oh, wow. It's gonna be delicious. Okay. So we're really close to adding our tomato paste and finishing it off. At this point, I'm gonna drain our liquid. Actually, I have to take one of these. So you want to transfer the pot roast.
We'll watch it for you.
Oh yeah, it's just, oops, I can't even pick it up, guys. It's just falling apart. Okay. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Be very careful, but we're gonna strain our liquid. Okay, that's garbage. And then we really want to get all our little bits of juicy stuff out of there. So we got about a half gallon out of that. Maybe a little bit more. Obviously, you guys don't have to make all that gravy, but yeah, so we have the mirepoix. We strained it through. All right. No, we just use it for the nutrients and the flavor and develop color and things like that. So we got our tomato paste. Oh yeah, I just strained it. That's all I did, and then. What? No, I'll answer the question. What is it?
I forgot for a moment that you're making what you just played with. Okay. So that is so great for you. You are doing all that beautiful brown and food.
Yeah.
And then you're going to
deglaze. Yeah, we're just getting the flavor. It'll, strengthen our flavor there, kind of fortify it a little bit there. Because we don't want to just make our gravy out of just beef stock, and then we don't have, this really just kind of enhances it, technically we could make gravy technically we could just make gravy with just beef stock and roux, but what's the fun in that, right? Well, this way we seared the meat in there, so it'll really have all that meat flavor in there. So, and we're just kind of working the bottom of the pan. You got a little bit too brown on one side, but I think we're okay. You got too excited with the gravy. Forgot to pay attention to this, so. All right. Let's see where we're at. So we only want enough liquid to cover, but unfortunately, sometimes it'll be, a half gallon,
Yes, we're smelling through masks. It's amazing.
So at this point, we're gonna add. So you see, I did kind of a little very light scorching there, but for the most part, we got it all in there. Okay. And then it looks like we need a little bit more liquid. Turn this off. I don't want that on. Okay, it looks like we need a little bit more liquid just to cover probably all of it. There you go. There's a little bit of the beef paste in there still. And then we're gonna cover it with foil, throw it in the oven, forget about it. So, no, we're gonna turn this into the stroganoff. Yeah, because this is how we make the beef for the stroganoff.
Oh, I saw you photograph.
Yeah. And then we did run pot roast for a special pot roast and gravy, I think, when we first opened back up. So we have our liquid here. We're gonna add the roux. I'm gonna put a glove on just because I don't want to get flour everywhere. So you just kind of add the roux in there. Actually, you can also push it through a strainer if you'd like, but I really just kind of go like this. That was a tablespoon, so I'm probably gonna put about 2, maybe. Here's another tablespoon. So, and it'll take about 5-10 minutes to kind of see if we're gonna need more, but it's already hot, so we're. And one way to tell you guys is to take your serving ladle, and then so as you guys can see, it's almost there, right? So that's almost gravy consistency. We don't want it too thick. Okay, we don't want that to be too thick, unless that's how you like it. But yeah, we'll use the roux in the kitchen for other things. Oh yeah. We can put it in a Ziploc bag, refrigerate it. I say you're good for up to a week in the fridge with it. It's just buttered flour. All right, let's see here. So what do you guys think about a thickness on that? Is that a little bit long, a little bit more, you think? It's almost there though, yeah? So we'll do another couple teaspoons here. Because once you put too much in there, well, I guess you can add more beef stock if it's too thick, I guess. I kind of want to taste it first. We're going to serve our potatoes and our beef before it gets too cold. I'll be right back. I'm going to grab a tasting spoon, and I want you guys to try it as well. I don't know how legally we're supposed to kind of go like lift up our mask or something. Not here yet? Nick? Ugh. I'm almost done, and we'll team it out. Okay. All right. If you guys don't mind, should I just hand you a spoon with a little bit in it, or does anybody want to taste it? You guys are, okay. I want to see if we're going to add. Keep in mind it's going to be very hot, so just kind of hang on to it first. I know it's spilling. I'm sorry about that.
Well, that's okay. As long as you use it,
Okay. I gave you a little bit less just so it doesn't. It's very hot, so just be very careful. We're just trying to taste seasoning, see if we need a little bit of salt and pepper. No? Okay.
oh my gosh.
I need to taste it as well.
Yes, we'll take a roll. Wow. Oh my gosh. That is absolutely delicious.
Yeah, but that's just from that. So you guys can see, I mean, without the mirepoix and peppercorn and bay leaf, if you're just sticking up gravy or sticking up beef stock, it's not going to be that, like, it doesn't make your mouth go, like, you know, have that really deep flavor. So now we're going to go ahead and eat. I can kind of taste a little bit of the flour in there, though, but not enough to where.
So that, you use that for
Yeah, so we'll be topping it up for stroganoff. But obviously, you know, you want to enjoy it as pot roast first. And then leftovers. You can do. Just gonna use my gloved hand here. Everyone's okay with potatoes? Should I throw some asparagus on the grill?
Sure.
Okay.
Get a no from us.
All right, here we go. Let's try that. And then we have our knife. I'll just cut carrot and I'm gonna rinse it off real quick. So we didn't do anything raw with our knife, so we're okay. Well, now you guys have the recipe, so you can do it at home.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just gonna do a couple of chunks for now, okay, you guys?
Just.
It's super hot. Oh, look at this stuff in here. Like, we probably want that in our gravy. Oh, yeah. There we go. We don't want to waste that stuff. And, you know, you're going to cut against the grain. It's kind of hard to see at first, but you just kind of eyeball it. So you see the beef is going that way, so I just cut it that way. Is that? And then we have, ooh. All right, you guys. Hope you're ready. Let me eat slow because I gotta throw the asparagus back on there, so on the grill, okay?
No promises. That's wonderful.
Just got a little bit of our gravy there. Obviously, you can ask for more gravy if you'd like. The ones.
Okay, I'm in.
I just don't.
Gravy, please.
Okay. So you want it drowning in the gravy? Okay, I got you.
It's pretty awesome.
It's like I call it liquid gold, you guys. I know I've called it that a few times before, especially with the truck roast, just because of. You know, try using short ribs with this. Then you're like, oh, it's even. If you guys like short ribs, it's a little bit more fatty.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Maybe a little bit more pricey too, I think, than truck roast. But the flavor is distinct, and it's delicious. All right, you guys. Here. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Let me throw some asparagus. It's very hot, okay? All right. Thank you to everyone at home who joined us. And we'll see you next week.